Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. I'm Janelle and I make both faith-based and lifestyle content here on YouTube. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about people pleasing. This is an area that I know a lot about because I was there. Let's define people pleasing in terms that I'm going to be using for this video. When I refer to people pleasing, it is betraying your beliefs to gain approval from people. And that involves letting people cross your personal boundaries or doing things that you don't agree with just to be agreeable and accepted by man. I want to make the distinction between serving people and pleasing people. I am very much about serving others, being there for others, inconveniencing yourself even for others when appropriate, and just being a good friend or whatever. I'm talking about people pleasing in the concept of pleasing man over God, and just being agreeable with the world to fit in. And I'm going to start off with a Bible verse because Paul does talk about this in the book of Galatians, so I want to turn there with you. Galatians chapter 1, verse 10. Am I now trying to gain the approval of people or of God? Or am I trying to please people? If I were still trying to please people, I would not be a slave of Christ. When Paul talks about people pleasing, he talks about this in opposition to pleasing God. So one or the other. If I please man, I'm not pleasing God, because as we know, what the world does and wants is so opposite to what we as followers of Christ believe in and do, or try to do. But like I said, for years, I did do things that I didn't agree with, or stay quiet in situations where maybe I shouldn't have, just to be agreeable and to be liked. Unfortunately, that is a very common thing when growing up, but getting taken advantage of time and time again, doing things that you don't feel like doing just to be seen as cool or understood is exhausting. It's so exhausting, and where is the freedom in that? There is none, because you don't even know who you are anymore. When you continuously please others doing things that you don't care to do, or saying things that don't sit right with you, that is exhausting. It's tiring. It is not freeing at all. So you start to lose yourself and forget who you even are. Like, who even are you? Because you know what they say, you are who your friends are. So if you're surrounded by the wrong people and just doing whatever they do to fit in, who are you? And people will like you and they will dislike you regardless of what you do, who you are. There will be people that don't like you for no reason. I had somebody tell my friend that they did not like me for no reason. Whatever group, whatever person you're looking up to that you want to have by you, that you need to do things that you don't want to do just to be liked by, if that sentence made any sense, maybe think about that relationship, that friendship. Why do you have to do things you don't agree with in order to be accepted by this person? What is the deal there? On the contrary, maybe it's not the other person's fault. Maybe look internally. Is that an insecurity within? Maybe you can fully be yourself, but you are too focused on trying to be like the other person, thinking that that's going to gain their approval. But at the end of the day, you can totally be you and still have the same friendships. Maybe you just didn't know that because you're too focused on getting approval from them, which you don't need. You don't need any person's approval or acceptance or whatever. You only need God's. Be yourself. And for the people that stick around, that's what you want. For the people that don't, sorry about it. And like I said, when you focus on God and pleasing God, you will not be focused on pleasing others. The second that I stopped caring about if my friends were gonna think my outfit's cute or if they're gonna think it's like lame and mom-ish. I think it was the first time that I hung out with friends after being convicted of modesty. My friend called me soccer mom or like mom or something like that. And I'm just like, you know what? That's the title now. Cool. I just don't care. Same thing with gossiping. Like, I know that I should not be gossiping as a Christian. I should not be bashing other people, talking negative about other people. But when I'm put in that situation where everyone's gossiping, I have to remember who I'm pleasing. You know, that happens at work all the time. It happens with friends all the time. That's when the Lord convicts you and says, hey, you shouldn't be in this conversation. See your way out of it. It might exclude you a little bit, but I think it's very admirable when somebody doesn't sit there gossiping. I think it shows such a testament to their character, you know? You're gonna start making changes. If you were a people pleaser and you're trying to stop, things are gonna look different in your friendships, in your family, in your relationships. All of a sudden, you might have to say no to things because you have other priorities. And the thing is, before is I would tell people what I'm doing. I always had to have an excuse on why I couldn't hang out or why I couldn't go somewhere that I really didn't feel like going to. And I have an excuse. And then they say, oh, but you could do that later. Or, oh, you could sleep when you're dead. My priorities are not their priorities. And so I'm like, you're right. I'll go. So now if you're trying to stop people pleasing, you have to be firm and bold and confident in what you're saying. You have to remove that insecurity and be like, no, this is what I do. So no, I will not be going out at midnight with you. I've said this in other videos. I've been called lame. I've been called boring. I've been called old. Whatever. Stop people pleasing, because to me, that's lame. And that's what I was doing. I am much happier setting my boundaries and sticking to them and being confident in them. As Christians, we are supposed to be bold in our faith. We're supposed to be firm in our faith. We're not supposed to be wishy-washy like the tide. We're supposed to be like rock, like solid rock. And once you have an encounter with Jesus, you just want to please him. And once you get to that point, pleasing man is just not going to be appealing. And looking different is going to be appealing. It's almost sad because I went through a little emo, whatever people call it nowadays, phase in high school. And I went through that phase because I wanted to be different. I wanted to rebel and I wanted to be different. And it's almost so sad that the way the world is today is that being a Christian is being different. But the Bible says that. So, I mean, here we are. Like, it says that we are going to look different than the world. So this is such a weird analogy, but it's almost like being different again, but in the right way. Let me list some takeaways because I feel like I've been all over the place. 1, if you are people pleasing, question the relationship. Is this an issue with the person? If they are intimidating, if they make you feel bad for not gossiping, or if they call you, holier than thou, if they try to make you feel bad about your beliefs, then it's time to set a boundary with that person. If they're not, and you just feel like you need to please them and act like them and agree with them, look within. Think about your insecurities. Why do you feel that way? Why aren't you confident and bold in your opinions, in your ideas, in your beliefs, in what you want to do, in your decisions? Is there confidence lacking there? Question that. Next, are you pleasing God? Are you doing what you can to live out a Christian lifestyle? Because if you are, and you're focused on pleasing God, why are you still focused on looking like the world? Because we really don't have time for both. And God doesn't want us to be lukewarm. I heard a really good analogy at church yesterday about tea. With the tea bag, some people dip their tea bag in a cup of tea and they just, dip it. And other people will let it soak and walk away. And which tea comes out stronger? The one that soaks. And same thing with your faith, Some people want to dip in Christianity and say, yeah, I'm going to please God today, but then tomorrow I'm going to please the world, and then I'm going to please God again because I don't feel good today and I feel like I need God, but now I'm okay, so I'm going to go back to the world. This was me for a long time. The tea is not as strong that way, and the faith is not as strong that way either. So be a Christian that soaks in God's word, that soaks in pleasing God, and walks away from the old self, from the worldly self. And I read a comment on YouTube that said a lot of churches today practice people pleasing, which is very unfortunate. There's a lot of churches that don't do this. I love my church, find the right church, but a lot of churches want to hide things, keep things under the rug, just please everybody, act like everything's good, just say yes to everything. And that is not real life. And so one thing I did yesterday was go to revival night. Revival nights are wonderful. I felt completely free. I let myself cry there last night and I didn't even care because I can see all these people just going for Jesus, and it's just such a good environment to be in. So something like that to intensify your faith. I mean, I can't even see how you can please man and do that at the same time. You just can't. Maybe go deeper in your faith, take that next step in your church, take that next step in your worship. Other key point, people are going to dislike you regardless. People are going to like you regardless. So that it doesn't even matter. That point doesn't really have to be made because it doesn't matter if people like us or don't like us regardless. So you don't really need to worry about pleasing this group and not pleasing this group. And it's too tiring. It's exhausting. It's taxing. We don't need it. Jesus wants us to be free in all areas. And we are continuously keeping ourselves in bondage by doing things that we think are freeing us that are honestly not. So we gotta unlearn things to be free. Stick to your faith, stick to your boundaries, be bold, and that's about it. I'm gonna wrap this up here. I hope that you took something from this video. If you have any questions for me, leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you next time with another video. Bye.